It's time for the Ravagers to rise once again to glory!
You are listening to The Ravager Report, a Fox Next Marvel Strike Force podcast dedicated to bringing you the latest news, information, and updates. With your hosts, Dorian.
It is a name what strikes fear into the hearts of anyone what hears it!
And Hebrew Hammer.
I'm Mary Poppins, y'all!
Hello, and welcome to episode 15 of the Ravager Report, the very first episode of 2019. I am your host, Dorian, and with me, as always, is the Honorable Hebrew Hammer. Hebrew, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, buddy. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. So to those that are joining us live, thank you for being here tonight. I do apologize for getting a late start. We were having some technical difficulty, could not figure out why my system was not recording. So, but we're all good now. Everything's going well. I'm probably going to sound way high, but I think we can probably fix that in post. But anyway, let's see. So we are going to do the... we're going to wing it tonight with no show notes because tonight we're doing a year in review for 2018 for Marvel Strike Force and answering your listener questions. So, Hebrew, before we get started, why don't you let everybody know how was your new year, man? How you been last week?
Everything's been pretty good for me. Family left, so that was actually kind of a little bit of a relief because once you have family over for too long, it just is, things get dicey, I'm not sure if your family's like that or not, but for me, at least, whenever you get them all combined in a room, it's a very, Jewish people and Italian people, they have like very similar cultures. And the fact that whenever you bring family together, everyone's in everyone's business. I'm glad everyone's gone. And my girlfriend did leave, so that was kind of sad, but she's coming back in a month, so that's fine. And other than that, been playing around with all my Christmas gifts and everything. So yeah, New Year's always kind of boring for me now that I'm like a little bit older. It's probably about 3 years ago or so now that I guess 2 years ago is the last time I did something for New Year's. We went out into town and, we all got hammered and threw up everywhere and, good times. But since then, I haven't really, celebrated it too much. I'm not sure if this is going to be like a thing that happens as I get older where I go out less and less, but I don't know. Either way, I didn't mind not going out for New Year's. But other than that, yeah, just, normal stuff, getting ready to go back to school. Really enjoying my vacation from school. That's always super nice. And yeah, that's about it. What about you?
So, also I had a really good time. Christmas, we got the Switch, got it all set up. I love that thing. I did not realize that it was a USB-C charger. So that's the same that my phone uses, and I absolutely love it because I've got a fast charger. So I've been playing Pokemon, and I'm just laying in bed. I love this thing. This Switch is great. So anyway, yeah, been having a lot of fun with the Switch. In fact, I think we're probably going to wind up doing something very special with us. We'll have to see how that goes. And New Year, I'm like you. I'm older. New Year's kind of lost its luster. I stayed up with my son. He and I, my 14-year-old stayed up and was like, "Hey, Happy New Year!" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to bed." I'm like, "Okay, I love you," because I wouldn't give up the Switch. So,
there you go.
Although I will say, real quick, if anybody's looking for a new game to play, it's available. I just bought a game this past week. I bought it on Xbox because it's a Windows Anywhere title, so I can play it on either Xbox or my PC. It's called Moonlighter. It's also available for Switch. I want to say PS4. It is an absolutely fantastic game. It's a kind of an RPG dungeon crawler, but you run a local merchant shop. So anything that you grind and collect in the dungeon, you turn around and sell to the locals in the village. And you can use that equipment to craft gear. to use in the dungeon or to sell to other adventurers. I mean, it's a freaking great dungeon crawler, take on the dungeon crawler genre. I've been kind of addicted to it.
Let me ask you a question. Have you been practicing your Smash?
Not as much as I should, because we've got Let's Go Pikachu.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, and I'm having an absolute blast because it comes to find out I am their target audience. I never played the Pokemon games on the DS, so I didn't have any expectations of being able to breed or hidden moves and all this other stuff. So it's it's an absolutely fabulous game. Anybody that's worried about the motion controls, you can play it in handheld mode and just like move the screen and hit the A button to throw the balls. I know Muggin was worried about that, and I confirmed like you can even move the left joystick to aim before you throw your Pokeball. So you don't have to, swing the Joy-Con or anything if you don't want to.
Yeah.
So that's really nice.
Pretty nice.
That's really nice. So other than that, I have taken the plunge, and I have gotten all my aim to level 40, and I have been buying their gear or their ranks. They're all at least gear 4 or gear 5 now. In fact, I'm gonna have to find that screenshot and post it over. So I am going all in on the minion or on the aim, because they got to rework them at some point, right?
Yeah, eventually you're going to be right.
Yeah. Hey, look, a broken clock's right twice a day.
Yep.
So I've had my 2 with Thanos and Luke Cage.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. So
yeah, they might go broke before you ever hit the aim.
Yeah, well, maybe, but let's hope not. Let's hope not. It's a new year. It's a new year. It's a new. Yeah, it's a new year.
Opportunity.
So, yeah.
Let's
just hope. It reminds me kind of that Robert Frost poem. I traveled a path through the woods, and I came to a fork, and I chose the path less traveled by. Let's hope they take the path less traveled by this year and do something that they haven't done before. So
yeah, I'm hoping so.
Yep. So before we get into the Datamine, actually, before we get into some of the news of the week, we'll get into the Datamine. But before we do, I want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons. I want to thank you guys again for what you do. And for supporting the show. It's just fabulous that you guys care enough to do that, and enjoy the content enough. So I know I comfortably speak for Hebrew and say thank you. Your support means so much to us. And if you do like what you hear, please feel free to join our patrons at patreon.com/Ravager Report, where we do have subscriptions starting at $2, going all the way up to $20 right now. And you get special access on our Discord, direct access with us and the other patrons. And we've got some exciting things coming in the new year for our patron level. So it's sorry, I'm getting distracted.
It's a good time to be a patron.
It's a good time to be a patron. It really is. Sorry, I was getting distracted by chat. We have been gone from live for so long that my bad habits are coming back, and I'm getting sucked into too many things. So, real quick, there hasn't been much in the realm of a Datamine. I only saw one, and it was really kind of all about Kree. So it looks like the Kree are going to be getting a rework right around the Captain Marvel release, and we will be getting a Captain Marvel. Let me find that real quick here. We can edit.
I'll edit out the time difference.
Yeah, we can edit out the time difference. That won't be a big deal. You guys get all the fun stuff playing locally. So let's see. The Ronin Possible rework leaks. He'll get a basic attack that removes, and remember, these are data mines. They are not 100%. They're subject to change. They're pure speculation. But let's see. Ronin Possible rework leaks. Basic attack that removes buffs, which is unavoidable and does piercing damage, which makes sense for a hammer. His special summons Kree minions. When the summons die, they will generate ability energy. His ultimate will be an AoE, which will ability block everyone and does more damage to low enemies. Not sure what that means. If they mean like low health or low level. And then his passive.
No, it means lower health. I'm sure it's kind of like an execute.
Yeah, that makes sense. His passive is extra resistance, focus for Kree speed on receiving ability energy. And then that'll be right around the time of the Captain Marvel movie, most likely in March. And then there was one actually today after I looked at it about the Nick Fury event changes. It looks like they are going to be changing the Nick Fury event. The overall power is going to go up, probably to account for the Kree rework, so that the overall power goes up from 229,293 to 240,536. The Wave 2 Punisher is going to go from 29,382 power to 31,008 power. Lock and Load will go from 2 ability to 4 ability energy, and the initial turn meter they'll come in preloaded with turn meter. So it looks like Punisher's gonna be able to drop in and do Lock and Load from the very beginning. That's gonna hurt. And then Wave 3 Punisher power is gonna go from 21,034 to 22,255. Lock and Load will come in 2 to 4. Both Iron Men will have their power increase from 18,498 to 22,255, and Rocket Barrage will go from 1 loaded ability to 5 loaded energy. So, yeah, there looks like they are definitely going to be upping the Nick Fury difficulty, but they're not depending on the Kree, what they do with the Kree, because you still can't use Ronin or Korath.
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, I have a big problem with this because they need to just stop changing things, right? Like, I hate whenever they move the bar further away for no reason at all. Kree is still terrible, and Ronin's getting a rework, and maybe the Kree. We don't know about the Kree minions yet, but Ronin is at least getting a rework, but you can't use him. So why are we making it more difficult? And I don't know. This kind of stuff that they've done, it just really annoys me. But that being said, I don't want to get too into it. But
right. Again, it's just a data mine, it's speculation.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm not going to get too worked up over it. But I will say with Ronin, though, I'm really excited that he's finally going to be getting his rework. And I think that his kit that they're working on, at least, I think that sounds pretty cool. I'm excited to try it out. I like the fact that he's going to be keeping the removing buffs on his autos and everything. So that'll be nice. Or I shouldn't say autos, but his basics.
And I would like to respond. Evan in chat says, to be fair, Red Stars make it easier, maybe, but it's a bad reason regardless. Well, the thing is, Evan, they told us flat out that they would not retune old content for Red Stars. And if they go back on that for this, then they toss everything else out the window. So if they retune old content for Red Stars after they said they wouldn't, that to me is kind of a big deal. So, I hope that's not why they're doing it, and I hope it's because the
only thing that would make sense if it's because they're going to rework the Kree to be much better.
Right. That would be the only reason to make sense. And as we've seen, that's one thing that they've done well is their reworks have been. I don't think they've done a bad rework since launch. So
yeah, I mean, I have problems with their reworks for other reasons, but one thing is for sure, the reworks end up making the teams very good.
Right.
Whoever they rework or characters specifically very good. So yeah, but exactly as Flip in our audience has said, it's too good.
In some cases,
a problem.
So. I mean, I as far as like the defenders go, I don't feel that they were done. I mean, they're a highly synergetic team. Now, one could argue they should probably not be better than, say, the Avengers, but I would say that in a game mechanic, the only rework that really felt too good for me was Shield. The Shield rework was way out there.
Right, and I agree with you that that one is terribly bad. But I think that even the defenders is far too powerful in relation to the other characters in the game, because that's really the issue. Is that whenever you rework all of the teams that they've brought out so far, it's been now a very team synergy based meta, and it pretty much negates everyone else that doesn't have a team now. So it's too powerful. If I'm only able to use basically 20% of the characters in this game now, it's just not as good in my opinion.
Well, but I mean, but arenas at least work like that though. That there's always there's always something that rises to the top as the meta, and we actually have a pretty deep meta right now as compared to other games, because like we've got, obviously we've got the Brotherhood, we've got Shield, and we've got Fury, right? But we've also got this tech team out there that is not they're on the same. They are a mix and match team, because you've got Rocket, you've got Vision, you've got Star-Lord, you've got Crossbones, and you've got Merc Lieutenant, right? That's really kind of the core five for that Merc team, or that tech team. So other than Star-Lord and Rocket, I mean, you're just kind of taking this mix and match and putting them together.
But that's the kind of approach that I like more. It's more malleable as a team comp. It's not just defenders, pick these 5 and then win. Like I like the fact that you can really like mix and match with a tech team combo, right? With defenders and Brotherhood and what was it? Fury. Like it's just, you get these teams, you win. I don't know. You can really mix and match on the other one, and that's why I like it more. But anyways, so yeah, I just think that even at the end of the day, like that's 15 characters right there that pretty much dominate the meta. If you include the tech team as well, which are incredibly good, then you got 20-ish people.
Yeah, I would say 20 to 25 characters.
Yeah, and then most of the extra comes from tech viable characters that are on your tech meta team.
Well, I mean, the defenders have quite a few viable 5th options.
Pretty much everyone either puts in Miss Marvel or Punisher.
Right. Spider-Man works okay if you get that defense.
No, Spider-Man works okay, but he's not as good.
In fact, one team that I've seen and I think could work really well is take Luke Cage out and run Spider-Man, Miss Marvel, Iron Fist, Punisher, and not Punisher, but Daredevil and JJ. And that way you get Spider-Man doing the defense down, and both Iron Fist and Daredevil are brawlers that call in Miss Marvel to assist. Mm-hmm. And then Miss Marvel obviously does her big slap, and she goes after Spider-Man, does the defense down. That team, and Miss Marvel provides some protection, not as much as Luke does for that team, but enough that in an arena fight, that could be a really viable arena team as well. So it's not.
Yeah, I've actually tried that exact team.
Yeah,
right. I've actually tried that exact team, and I still find it inferior to the basic defenders team comp. It's a nice option, but it's still inferior. That AOE defense up is so good with Luke Cage.
That's true.
I can't ignore it.
And so it also depends on what T4 abilities you've got, because if you've got Punisher's passive upgraded all the way and he's assisting 100%, or you've got Miss Marvel up all the way and she's assisting 100%, that makes a huge difference to those team comps.
Yeah, I actually usually I like taking out JJ and putting in Miss Marvel instead. Actually,
I would never take JJ. JJ's kind of the she's the piston that keeps that engine running.
I don't know. I actually usually get away with it fairly well, because I end up having so much damage out of everything that I don't really have a problem. But you know,
in shorter fights, I can see that. In raid, I would never take her out. But for arena, I guess I could see that.
Yeah, well, actually, in raid, I just stick with the normal 5 comp and Punisher. I stick in as my 5th, but that usually takes care of everything. But yeah, we don't want to get too stuck on this because we can go on for a long time. But personally, I think, just to kind of reiterate what I was saying, I just think that it's too team meta centric right now. And I wish it would be more like what it was originally, where people were really mixing and matching everything, and you didn't really know exactly what you were going to get. There wasn't any kind of set teams. I think that there should be team synergies with teams that we know, but they shouldn't be so strong as to overpower everything else. And that's kind of what it feels like right now. So,
yeah, I see that, and I understand from a gameplay point of view what you're saying, and I agree that from a gameplay point of view it would be fun, but from a thematic point of view, to me, I prefer the team synergy simply because in comic books you'll see maybe the occasional team up, but it's usually, you know, like one person with one other person. It's not 5 people just randomly getting together to go do something. You know, there's team synergy, you know, and within these groups. So
yeah, and I've always liked the synergy like between Daredevil and Punisher. Like I've always kind of preached that I like that approach better because that way you can piece out those two into other teams. So yes. I've always been a big fan of that, and even just allowing that open gap for a 5th person with defenders, which is much nicer as well. But anyways, yeah, I think we're both pretty much agreeing on the same thing, just slightly different versions of it.
Yeah, I think so. Just you know, it's not a Ravager Report podcast if we don't argue about something. So yeah, that's the Datamine. And with a little bit of a segue into some strategy / team comp discussion. So I think now we're going to move into the news, and so really no big news to discuss. I have been given permission, Heber, I think I told you that I was given permission to discuss this.
Yeah.
We are, unfortunately, Marvel Strike Force is losing a player who contacted me the other day and said he just can't do it anymore, and that is friend of the podcast, Assassin Avenue. And so Assassin has decided to hang up Marvel Strike Force in the near future. And I understand completely why. It's the time constraints. It's the time, not the constraints, the time requirements. It is way too much of a time commitment to stay competitive within this game.
Yeah. I agree with that. we went into that a little bit last time, but yeah, there's some things that they could specifically do to kind of tone it down a bit, but yeah, it's kind of gone a little too crazy right now.
It is, and unfortunately, with some of the new content coming up, Alliance Wars, it looks like it's just going to get worse. And I can't. However, you know what? I wasn't told I couldn't share this. I reached out and I reached out to Fox Next this week, and got with my contact who thankfully was back from vacation. He's one of the few in the office. And so, want to answer a couple of things real quick. You'll see on Reddit, there's a reply to a post about this week's dev blog. Obviously, there is no dev blog the first week of January, and I've been told that next week's dev blog is going to be a Q&A mailbag. It will not be like a news update blog. It's going to be a Q&A mailbag. So if you've got questions that you would like to have sent over to Fox Next, please feel free to send them to us. You know, you can DM myself or Hebrew, and we'll make sure to get those collected and sent over to them. So that way we can get those to Fox Next and get them in, and maybe try to get some of your questions answered from them. The other thing is I reached out about the Datamine Gamma Raid and the trait nodes that were data mined for that, and I can tell you that my contact said that he played the Gamma Raid and that there are no AIM or Hydra nodes, so that's a bonus.
Yeah, it's good to know. We'll see if it sticks.
We'll see if that sticks. You know, they could very well change it before it comes to us, or they're playing a different version, but I have no information on anything else. But I can tell you that I have been told there's no AIM or Hydra.
Yeah.
So this is yeah, Evans in chat talking. The rumors are flying about a Disney license shutdown, so they jumped on Reddit quick on a thread that was quickly going down that rabbit hole. and you're not going to hear much of anything about that from me. I've reached out to them about it. They have not. They are not able to respond. Obviously, they can't talk about any of that information. But I don't feel that should be a fear or worry. I think that too many people are putting too much stock into things that have happened in the past. Fox Next may get sold to another company, but the value of Fox Next lies in their licenses, not in the people. So either Disney will shut the game down completely, or they will sell it off, or they'll keep it going. It's one of those three. I don't know. I mean, beyond that, it's all just pure speculation.
I think it's more coming from people trying to rationalize what's been happening recently.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I've seen a lot of people talking about, they're trying to make as much money as they can before they get shut down, or they're trying to prove to Disney they can make money, et cetera, et cetera. And I really don't think that's the case, because these things don't happen as quickly as you expect. Like this whole Red Star thing, right? This was mapped out. This was planned for a much longer time than just, to prove to Disney that they can make money, right? That's not what they did that for. They did that to make money, yes. But I don't think it had anything to do with the Disney acquisition. I think that was the plan all along.
Yeah, I mean, it could be argued that, it was altered to be specifically more money grabby, in order to help show Disney that they can make a lot of money or whatever. But regardless, I agree too. I don't think that it's that case. Like, I think that it's going to be just fine, and it's more just people trying to rationalize what's been happening recently. And
yeah,
that's kind of an answer that makes sense to most people, because really, if you look at what they're doing, a lot of times it seems illogical. So,
yeah,
but well, I think everything's fine, and this is just something that they didn't think was going to be a big deal. That was a bigger deal. I don't know how they didn't realize it, but it just was a bigger deal.
Yeah,
to the community. So,
and I think part of the reason why it felt rushed out was because of how they did it, and because of honestly, I think they did it because of the season, because it was the Christmas season, right? And people spend money, and people have gift money to spend, so they were trying to capitalize on the spending of the season, I think. And so, I can tell you that there were internal conversations about Red Stars, and there were internal conversations, and I think I shared this on the podcast previously, but my understanding is that the developers who designed Red Stars won the argument and said, hey, in 6 months, it's not going to make a difference, because the odds should play out. The odds should play out.
That's what I was told too.
So that's
problem, that their system is flawed.
The system is flawed,
yeah.
And the worst part of it is that it really is a slot machine. It's a slot machine mechanic, and that's my biggest. I think Red Stars would be fine if they just made a few minor adjustments. I would have zero problem with them. Right now, it's a gambling predatory tactic. Yes, they're giving them away for free, but they're also allowing you to buy them every day. So if you don't have what you want, just, what, for a few dollars, you can take another pull on that slot machine. So
I want to say one thing real quick, and I know it's like bad because we're being super negative or whatever, but I don't really care.
I don't know. Now listen, look, I said that I think that Red Stars with a couple of minor tweaks are great. They're fine. There's no problem.
Yeah.
The problem is the way they're being implemented, and the way they're being
sold.
And
I agree. And you and I have talked about, the potential ways that they could have done it that would have been far better in every aspect, but on the podcast end off. But the thing that really gets me just on the predatory gambling aspect, like so my position is slightly different than some of the others. I do think that it's bad that companies rely on this a lot, but at the same time, I think that to a certain degree, like, you're in control of your wallet and you can't cater to everyone. People are going to have problems, and I get that, but not everyone does. And I would say the majority of people don't. I do have a problem with it potentially creating tendencies in children. And so that's kind of a bigger thing. And I think that there should be something that flags whenever you download a game, saying that there is a gambling aspect to it. That way, you know how you can put on parent controls for downloading apps and things like that. If that's flagged in the game, like, parents can say, oh no, you're not allowed to have that game. It'll automatically block downloads of that game. I'm more into that kind of stuff. I think that everyone has the right to choose on if they want to gamble or not. It's just like going to a casino, and if you can't handle it, don't go to the casino. But that being said, what really, really, really annoys me is that they kind of bypassed that in a way of, they put you in a position where you're at a certain level of power in this game, and then they convert everything to luck. And so then in order to keep your power that you've had and that you've spent money on and things like that, you're going to have to spend more money just to keep what you had. And that's the thing that gets me the most, because that's exploiting what we have already got. And that, I think, is predatory, because it exasperates the issue. But anyways, that's my take on it. So it's slightly different than everyone else. And I respect everyone else's decision on that. And I think it's a really dicey area. And I think that we need to see more statistics on it. And hopefully we will, because mobile gaming, is embracing that as monetization. So, we'll see more of it. But I think that there are much better ways of monetizing games in general, free-to-play games in general, that don't involve gambling as much. And I think LoL is one of the best examples of that personally, just because it makes a game totally free-to-play with a huge monetization, and they make tons of money. They're like one of the most profitable game companies ever. So
yeah.
And this game could use that 100%. It's primed for it, actually.
So let's talk about Marvel Strike Force. I'd like to talk about the 2018 from the perspective of a global launch player such as yourself, and then a beta player such as myself. And now, knowing obviously I didn't play full beta, I'm really more closer to global launch than I am beta. I only played beta for a month, but I think I have a little bit of a different perspective, having seen the game as it was in beta. Towards the end. So when you think of Marvel Strike Force for 2018, what's if you can think of one word to describe Marvel Strike Force for 2018, what would it be?
For 2018, I would say, putting it nice, I would say it's rough, very rough.
Okay.
That's the way I would describe it.
I think my word is I think I would come with scandalous.
Yeah, that's very accurate as well.
I think that I think both, though unfortunately, are more on the negative side. And I think that 2018 overall, it had some really good high points. It really did. Yeah. But I think the when it hit those lows, they were so bad that they completely undid all the positivity of anything that they had done. So what did you think of the game as a global launch player when you first started? Did you like the mechanics? Did you like the way the game was going?
So honestly, first one, I loved the game. I thought it was great. I was having so much fun with it. I saw it as a very bright future. I wasn't around, for the beta, obviously. So I started to hear whispers about the whole, things were different. Resources were tighter whenever the game started from the beta. But I didn't really care at that point, because the game was so new and exciting. I was constantly getting things, that was fine. So yeah, but I think within the first month, though, whenever I started, they had the first kind of change that really affected people, which I don't even know if people remember anymore, because now it seems so, small, which everything will be as time goes on,
right.
The more distance put in between it, whatever effect gets minimized. But yeah, the first thing that I encountered as a kind of, well, that's not so good, was the switch with the difficulty for the campaign. Do you remember that?
No.
They made the campaign a lot more difficult out of nowhere. I think probably 2 to 3 weeks in to the game. Because I had already made it most of the way through the current campaigns that they had. And I was a much lower level. And then Yeah, I think it was about 2 weeks after, 2 or 3 weeks. But then Irish, actually, whenever he joined in a little bit after me, and it was far more difficult. I think he had gotten just like maybe a couple of days in before it switched. And so he was at the same amount of days played. If you compared us, I was far more ahead than he was. And so that was kind of my first experience with, well, that wasn't, so good for the players. I'm not sure why they did that. But, I kind of let that roll off my shoulders. And I think that kind of set the tone, unfortunately, for what was okay and acceptable in the game for the developers. So,
see,
but
now, to
overall,
me, I
though,
thought
the first month, I thought it was good.
See, I thought the first real issue was the rocket event, where people that joined like the first day or two were able to get rocket, and then they took it away.
I didn't even know about that until like probably 2 or 3 months in. That was like a thing, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was bad, because I remember being upset whenever I found out about it, because I was like, man, I would have reset the game constantly, reloaded it, and created those throwaway accounts until I got it, because it was kind of that A and B test, or it wasn't A and B test, but it was like some kind of accident that you could exploit or something,
right?
But yeah, so I think that was something as well, but that was kind of, it affected the minority of people.
Yeah,
most people did not get it, but as far as like global things that happened, the difficulty change was the first one for me. But overall, still, the first month was very good, and I was very excited for the game. And I thought that I at least understood why they made that change, because people were running through it quite quickly. But yeah, so overall, I thought it was pretty good. What about you?
So when I was in beta going through, now we did not have the difficulty change there. We did have, honestly, I can't think of any major issues of the time that I played in beta. In fact, I felt that the growth curve was really solid. I thought the resources were coming at a good, proper pace. I didn't feel the gold crunch. I thought that things were just going so much better. And then Global launched, and they started changing where people were located. They started changing payouts and resources. And that to me really kind of was the first, because for me, what you've been playing all the way up through beta is what you should be using. You shouldn't just fundamentally change things right at launch and suddenly create this huge resource crunch, right? So I want to say that my first real distaste, though, came with the early AB offers. They were doing that AB offer switching. That really put a downer on me, where some people were getting one offer and somebody that joined 5 minutes later was getting a different offer, and that's not okay. That's really poor, in my opinion. I mean, look, I love the fact I felt that the game was rushed to complement the Infinity Wars release.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that, looking back, or even whenever it first came out, like all the Infinity War content that we got, I thought that was all very rushed. So yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
Now, don't get me wrong. There are some great things about this game that I love, right? And when I compare it to other mobile games of the same type or the same genre, and we're starting to see more of those come out now. One thing that makes Strike Force stand out is the story. There is an overarching story, and they're staying consistent to that story, and they have, more importantly, they have internal consistency, which is the bedrock of any good story, is to have that internal consistency.
Yeah.
It's so well done. It's so well done. I thought that the Thanos raid was awesome. It was difficult, but the story was great. I loved how they were trying to do something kind of new, right? And then they did it with Deadpool for Deadpool 2. Again, stories. I felt that the character releases were great with the campaign events. The fact that you could go in and, more than what I've seen in other games where you just, you one shot, you get like a 3-star character. And then if you want them better, you just got to buy them. Whereas here you get these campaign events and they last an amount of time where you can spend energy to go in and try to get them better.
Right.
So
I will say, the typical mode, and you would probably know this, but the typical mode of release was through Blitz originally, right?
I think so. Yes.
Was the first campaign, I think, for character release was Ant-Man
and Wasp, right?
Yeah, and I agree. I really liked whenever they switched to that, because I thought that although I enjoyed Blitz thoroughly at the time, I didn't like that as always being the way that characters were released. I thought that was a little too easy and not very fun.
What pissed me off about that was the fact that it was so limited, right? So they may run a blitz, they may run 2 blitzes, but they were always deadlocked. And unless you were lucky enough or ground your way up high enough, you were not going to be able to get, sometimes not even get an unlocked character, right? Mm. There was too much randomness to that release cadence. And when I say randomness, you didn't know where you were at. Right. So It was designed to make you keep pushing to try to get that 4-star, 3-star, 4-star, whatever. But you were only going to do that if you were, top 500 or something. And it was ridiculously hard. And just that turned me off blitzing so bad for character releases.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I think one of the bigger problems is that, that was kind of inevitable, that separation between, because it was obviously beta players that have been playing the longest that were up at the top. And at the time, we didn't have that extra percentage tier that we have now. But I think that whenever it came down to it, the benefit that people had in beta, not only from longevity, but also that the much more freed up resources that you guys experienced, kind of exasperated the effect that we saw where we had that gap in between free to play and beta. I'm sorry, global and beta. So at that time, yeah, that like you were never really getting up to the top, like no matter how much money you spent, especially at the beginning, because you could only spend so much money in a certain amount of time. But yeah, it was really hard to kind of close that gap. So I would agree with that, especially since you were a free-to-play player during that beta period as well, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't spend a dime until Storm.
Yeah. So yeah, but I was happy that they switched over, and Evan B from chat also mentioned that the Crosslands and Electra and the Beta Rocket campaigns were actually kind of character campaigns as well, just with the fixed rewards. And that's true, actually. So they did kind of have that already implemented. They just weren't for like new character releases. Well, I guess they were still kind of new to us, but as far as like playing and then having a new character released with the whole story thing, and then the gambling, or not the gambling aspect, but the but with the fragments and everything and the character shards, yeah, I think that was a much better way to start using that as the medium for character release instead of Blitz, because Blitz just got, I don't know, it got boring. And I like the stories. You're right, the way that they implement the stories, and where you kind of have to go through it, or at least have the option to go through it. And yeah, it was a lot nicer, a lot more elegant approach to releasing characters, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I just my biggest issue with 2018 has been really just more down than up.
Yeah, I think to say it any other way, you would be lying to yourself.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, there were some great things. Look, we were all worried when they announced Stark Tech, right? We were all like, oh my God, here come mods. Here comes this thing that's just going to ruin and change the landscape. And look, Stark Tech is a model of how to do it right. The way Stark Tech was implemented and the way you progress through that system is absolutely awesome, right? So you're you're reliant kind of on your alliance to and look, for 10K a day, it doesn't cost you. I mean, really, honestly, I mean, we all know the gold crunch, but 10K is nothing for the benefits that you get out of that. For your alliance to grow together, and the fact that you get to keep what you spend it on if you switch alliances is absolutely awesome. I just StarTech was so well done that it gave me a lot
it was
of hope.
honestly, it was masterfully implemented, and that was during the time whenever we were coming on to the good end after the Kree orbs, when they kind of turned everything around. StarTech was the big thing that was released soon after that, and we're like, oh wow, like this really is going very well, and they're listening and they're paying attention, and it was really well done. That's the kind of system, because it allows you to increase your character powers how you see fit, in a percentage base as well. So you got to pick who or what faction you increased your characters by. You got a certain amount. It wasn't luck based at all, and it was just effort that you put in with your team. And you got to keep it if you decided to change. So it wasn't like you were locked into one team for the rest of your life. Like, you could still change alliances if you needed to. It was really, really, really well done, and it was a slow way up to 20%, because 20% is a lot. It's a lot whenever you think about it.
20% is a lot.
Right. And that's why I thought that, Red Star should have been capped at 20% and worked their way up. But I think that, it's very slow to get up to 20%. And it almost invalidates StarTech in a way, because it's like, what's 20% whenever I'm getting 70 from Red Stars in a day? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, granted, that's faction based versus one person, but still. I just think it's like, 20%, yippee, like I can get 75 over here. But either way, StarTech did it right, and I wish that it would have just kind of stayed on that trend, because that was really, 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 really good, and it really surprised me. They surprised me for the very first time in a good way. So,
yeah, same here. That was after the first Polygon article, wasn't it? And the promise for better communication and things of that nature, if I remember correctly. I think exactly. My timing was that. But it seemed that to me was kind of the cherry on top of 2018. Look, they had a lot of good things. They really did. They tried something new with Storm. I thought the concept of the Storm character was really well done. This is really kind of that raid nuke in node type of character. That's really all she's good for and what she's there for. But
they started to get a little more intricate with characters, which is something I liked as well. Just as you said, with Storm, she was a good version of that. I still have my problems with Storm, but I respected the fact that they tried to do something a little different with her. And I liked that. And as far as characters are concerned, I think they've done a great job. I think that they still need to be constantly tweaking and trying to find more unique abilities for each character that comes out, and more unique synergies, not something like Magneto where it's all just blanketed on one character for a team. I think that they've done a pretty good job about that. And I like the character cadence release. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, you and I, but I really enjoyed the character cadence release. I think that they come out with new characters at a pretty good pace, and they've done a good job with bringing out characters that I want to play as well. Very few exceptions to that. So that was another big benefit, or not benefit as much of a plus.
Yeah, I think there's only one character they've brought out, and this wasn't even in 2018, so I won't hold that against them for there. I can't think of any character from 2018 that I really just went oof.
I mean, I have one character from 2018 that I say ugh.
Well, I mean, we're not talking launch characters. He wasn't a launch character, was he?
Too,
yeah. Okay. Yeah, but you don't have a problem with him because of the game, or I guess technically I don't have a problem with him because of his capabilities. Well, a little bit I do, but not really so much in game. But yeah. I would say that San Fran's got it absolutely. It is GG, absolutely 100%.
Just for anyone that doesn't know the GG, what that means, you should go ahead and tell them it's the Green
It is
Goblin.
not. It is not. It is not General Grievous. It is the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
I can't. No. I understand why thematically,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel that it was specifically done to be that hard shield counter, and that was the only way they could do it. But again, well, it was announced in 2018, so technically I can't talk about it because I think that even Miles is fun, right? So I have Miles up to like 4-star. Yeah. Actually, he's 4 red star. He's 4/4 for me. He's fun to play. I mean, I haven't spent a whole lot gearing him up or anything, but when I do use him, he's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly incredibly excited to have that entire team and play that entire team. I want to play the entire Spider-Verse team because I think it looks awesome, and I like the synergy between them, and I like the things that they do. I think they're cool characters. Carnage looks weird to me. I don't know. I don't think that's like his normal look, but I don't know. He just looks a little odd. So that was probably the first animation that threw me off. Like character design animation that threw me off. But yeah, I would say that I really just can't wait to play those characters. It's just unfortunate that if I want to stay competitive, I really can't afford to invest in them right now. So I'm going to have to wait for another 6 months or so. Not 6 months, but another couple of months until they're farmable and, I can really get my hands on them and hopefully get some red stars to drop on them to make them more viable at that point. But it'll be really fun whenever it does get to that point. That wasn't me being facetious. That was just me saying like it really will be a lot of fun to get to them whenever I do hopefully get those things put in line for them because they look like a great team and they look like a lot of fun to play. And I really like the characters. So, yeah.
So, I don't want to rehash all the negative issues from the past year. We were well versed on those. I will say that I think we're good there. So I know I asked you to find one word. So now I'm going to ask you though if you gave them, what would you give them if you were grading Fox Next on 2018? Mm-hmm. What grade would you give them?
So let me give them 2 grades.
No,
a 1 before grade. And a 1 after.
It's a 1 grade.
Can I give them a 1 before and a 1 after? All right. Well, if it's just after
what?
I would say after red stars. That's the big point in my mind where things shifted. So, the way it is right now. So after red stars, I would give them an F, like a big F. I think that this year was a total failure because it made people regress. And I think that that's bad for a game. I am not at the same position that I was in before. And I don't think that should be. I've been working just as hard. So, yeah, I think that should be, I would give them an F for that. So, but before that, I would have given them probably... all things considered, I would have probably given them a B-. So, it's really the red stars thing that kind of screwed it up for me. And I really hope that we recover. There's just a few things that I know that everyone probably knows that I just can't get past. I don't like the fact that there is a luck barrier. And as time goes on, like it's going to get more and more imperative that you get past that luck barrier in order to be certainly competitive, but even viable. But I'm sure that later on, and we'll see more ways to get them that aren't luck based. And I'm really, really hoping that those are not too terribly difficult to get because that's something that we need to have in the game. But until then, yeah, like it does not get a good grade for me. But I just don't want to give it that blanket statement of an F because it's really that one thing that made it that way. So before that, I would give it a B- because overall, before this, I think that and even after this, honestly, like the game is pretty free to play friendly. It's just unfortunate now that it's more luck based friendly than anything else. But before this, once again, it was very free to play friendly. Honestly, like I think that you could be competitive without spending money. And I think that that's kind of rare to find in a game. And I know that a lot of people are going to say that's totally wrong. And you could never be competitive unless you spent money. Like, you're not going to be in the top, 1% or so. But I mean, I have free to play people in my alliance that are keeping up with us. They put in more hours than people who haven't been spending money, but they can do it. It's possible. So I liked it, and I think that one of the biggest things about that. Sorry, just one more second. I think one of the biggest things about that is the fact that their offers were so terrible. I think that was a bit of a saving grace because you never got a lot out for spending a lot of money.
Right.
You never got your money's worth, and I think that kept things more on a level playing field. Like it made the people that are spending a ridiculous amount of money get a decent benefit, but it's still nothing absurdly crazy unless you're dropping like hundreds and hundreds of thousands, which there are some, and I don't want to be close to them as a dolphin or a free to play or anything. I don't think I should be near them. But for the most part, for whales in general, up until this point, like I thought that you could, stay relatively competitive with them. So
with
that's
proper
just
strategy,
my opinion on it, but yeah.
With proper strategy and proper
Right.
farming and putting
and
in the
time grind.
absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not going to say that I'm the most competitive guy out there because I'm not. I hover right around 200 or so in arena, and that's much worse after the advent of RSO, unfortunately. But I think that I agree with you that it is very free to play friendly. Now it's not starter free to play friendly. I think that it's actually brutal for new people starting the game.
Especially now, that's actually like a problem now.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't think about it enough from the starting perspective now.
Yeah, well, not so much on the red stars, but the fact that after 30 days, they're just kind of dropped in with everybody else.
Right? I agree with that, but I also do think the red stars because you can get red stars dropped on characters you don't have.
Yes. Yes, that is problematic. I think that red stars, very much like so. I hate to pull out the another mobile game reference, but there's another mobile game I play that has this thing called a Zeta, which completely changes or enhances a character's ability. Right, so red stars are much more invasive than Zetas were, but Zetas are locked so high up that it doesn't really affect newer players, right? And for me, it should be the same way here. That red stars should be so level gated. I know they've got level. I want to say it's level 42?
50? I think it's like 50 or something.
Is it 50 now? Or has it always been 50?
But I'm not 100% sure.
It should be higher in my opinion because at that point you'll have had more characters unlocked. And the problem is that you're going to find people. And look, this is going to happen everywhere, and I don't think it's a problem. You're going to have people that pay to buy like the campaign energy to progress their levels quicker,
right?
And so they're going to get the red star, and they should, right? Look, I'm going to say something that's highly unpopular. Fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with red stars. The concept of red stars are fine. Now, I think the power curve's too high, and I think that should be adjusted. But I think the concept of the red star system itself is fine. And you and I have had this discussion. And you know my feelings on this. That there is no problem with red stars themselves outside the power curve. The problem lies in the acquisition. That's the entire problem with red stars is the acquisition of red stars. There's no way to farm
acquisition in the power curve. As you said,
yeah. It's the problematic. It's the way it invalidates my work if I don't get lucky.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's my problem. So
yeah.
Is that for real? I'm sorry. Somebody just posted an offer, $50 for 14 red star orbs. Ugh. You can buy it twice though. Oof. I'm so sorry.
It's funny because every week I'm dropping an arena because I'm not getting pulls that other people are, and so you can see me like there's no way that like I can keep up as a free to play player right now, and it's unfortunate because people are buying, and not even just people buying, but people are just getting more lucky than me. Like that's really what it is. Like people are getting more lucky than me, and that's why a luck based system is bad. Like I know that now that this offer's out, I'm going to drop more, so. I'm probably going to be, I was before in the top 50. Then after Red Stars came out about a week ago, I was in top 100. Now I'm in top 150. And I bet after this, I'll be in, top 200.
Can I just say this? I'm sorry. I didn't want to go negative and we can cut this out. That's fine. So guys on live, you guys get the fun stuff. This angers me because they were told when they released Red Stars that they were going to limit them, that they were going to control the purchases. They were going to, this to me is not controlling it. This is flooding the market.
Yeah. I mean, that's why not to go. I'm not rehashing, and nor am I trying to rehash the video, the gambling, or I'm sorry, our gambling conversation earlier.
Right.
But that's why I think this is bad because like the Red Stars are so bad. I kind of briefly mentioned this, but they are specifically exploiting the fact that they know it screwed people over. And they're trying to offer these ridiculous things to the people that have spent money, that know that we'll spend money again in order to get us back to the spot that we were before over everyone else. That's that's predatory.
Yep.
And that is unfair to me. And that's the kind of gambling I don't like, because in that case, literally they are trying to, they put it in a way that there is no way to win. So, and that's bad.
Yep.
There's no strategic value in it whatsoever.
That just 14 red orbs for $50. Holy crap, man. You can go buy a brand new video game for that doesn't have this type of metric, that you don't have to, you'll get DLCs, sure. But you don't, oh man. So I would have to say, 28 orbs for $100. You can't pass that up. San Fran, watch me. They have not made me an offer I can't refuse. So I want to get back to the grades real quick. I would say that I have a tendency to agree with you. I don't know if I would give them a B- for up till Red Stars. I agree with the F after Red Stars. And like I said, really only for the implementation,
right,
or the acquisition, the way to act, and the communication around it. I thought that was the worst thing they could have ever done. But I would say that for the full year, up to Red Stars, I think a B- is way too high. I probably would have given them a C, maybe a C-. And I would say that overall for the year, I'm probably going to give them a low D, like a D-.
Right.
Simply because there were so many bad things that even though they did some stellar things in there, the bad was so bad. The no communication, zero communication. All the different scandals and the Polygon articles and the
I suppose
the
I'm including the
promises
recovery. But yeah.
But even the recovery was a false promise. It was a 2 month, it was a 2 to 3 month thing, and then Well, it started a bit before Red Stars. I mean, I was being.
Did it? I'm forgetting maybe.
I mean, they started missing communicate. You know, they promised us weekly communication, and then they started missing that. And then they were telling us, well, thanks for your feedback. We took it to heart, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do exactly what we told you that you didn't want. I guess I was more pessimistic even after the quote unquote upswing after the first Polygon article. I felt like that lasted really kind of to the second Polygon article, and then it just started slipping back to the way it was, and that was only maybe a month or two. So
right, was it? No, am I forgetting, or wasn't it two? I think it was two bad articles.
No, it was
then a good third one, or no, was it one?
It was one really bad article, followed by their do good article or their do good communication. Hey, we're going to start communicating better, and then they had the good article. You know, Cass came out with the third article about the gambling, and so it went bad, good, bad.
Right. For some reason, I thought that she wrote two, one for Nightly and then one for Cree, one during the Nightly thing, one during the Cree thing, and then then the fluff piece, then this one, the most recent one.
I don't remember a Cree one.
Yeah, she was talking about the Cree orbs, but that might have been the same one. I'm not sure.
I think that was in the. I think that was in the same one. Yeah, I think Cree and Nightly were the same one.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah. So overall, I'm gonna have to give 2018 a D-, and it started good, then it just tanked, then it tried to come better, and then it tanked even worse. Right?
Yeah.
You know, Foxnex, everybody kind of went, oof, Nightly Gaming was kind of the bottom of that barrel, and then Red Star said, here, hold my beer.
Yeah, that's for sure. But I still think though, after the implementation of Start Deck, I think the game itself was in a fairly good spot. And so I kind of stick to my score there, but I guess, yeah, it depends on what metric you're using, because they did have lots of scandals. But I thought walking into the game, the way it was right before Red Stars was pretty decent, I thought.
So my issue.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was pretty much done. I was just saying. So,
okay.
But yeah, once Red Stars came out, then it screwed up everything. But yeah, I would have given it around a B range, B-, C+, something like that.
So my issue was, and so if I remember correctly, when Muggin was still here, we did the content fire hose podcast. I think that was before the article, but my issue after that was more about that. Even though things seemed to get better, it got stale. It was very repetitive, and it was just
repetitive content.
It was repetitive content. It became more of a time sink. Then they released the atrocious Dark Dimension. And I
still don't have as much of a problem with Dark Dimension, but I do, I think the Dark Dimension in itself is okay. I'm fine with the mode being in there. I think that the fact that Fury was able to blow through it is my biggest qualm with it. But
well, I think it was.
I know you really don't like it, so
yeah, I think it was more how it was sold, though, right? And I think Evan and I have had this conversation. And Flip, that's really funny. I'll get to that in 1 second. I think though that my issue with how the Dark Dimension was sold to us, right? That it was this kind of like a personalized raid is kind of how the feelings came across, and it was meant to be a 6-month-long slug fest where you make no ground for days.
Right.
So I just, yeah.
So you didn't like that, or you did like that, the way it was sold?
I liked what was sold, but I knew that it was going to be worse. And, water under the bridge.
I think they delivered what they said, but
to an extent, but I think it was kind of sold a little bit differently. That the progression was not going to be this slow. But I actually hated what I heard from the beginning, because there was no reason. Sure, the end rewards were great, but there was nothing to make you want to come back every day. You didn't see, I mean, you got 100,000 gold per node. Chump change, man. For the effort you put into that.
I was never a fan of that. That didn't make any difference, really.
So I would rather that they have taken the end rewards and interspersed it throughout the node so that you felt like you were progressing.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing, I guess, is also so with Dark Dimension, and it's right that I guess that we're talking about this because this was one of the bigger different things that they've tried with the game so far. I liked actually the way that they were selling it, and I think that we got what they sold it as, but the problem with it was that there was one team specifically that was able to go through it exponentially faster than any other team. So that was not good, and it made it not fun because it was like, I don't know, like you're going to have to muddle through it while this team, if you invested the money into it, blows through it in a day. So that I didn't like, and it really did take a lot of the fun out, because I don't feel like celebrating something that took me 6 times longer than another person,
Right.
That kind of put a damper on it. But I think as far as the rewards, everything like that was okay. Also, the other thing that put a damper on it was just the fact that orange gear is like, they gave you what looks like a lot of orange gear, but whenever you look at the amount needed for orange gear, it's not that much.
Right. I don't think, can you even level up a single person to 13 with that?
Can you level it up with what do you mean?
Like so once you finish, you finish Dark Dimension, you cannot even level up a single person to T13 because there's no uniques in it. So you can't even finish the Dark Dimension to get into the Ultron when it comes out with its Red Star based difficulty.
Right. I mean, you can level up to 13 now with the other gear with orange gear that we're able to get in other ways. I believe I haven't been able to upgrade anything yet, but you have to get it from the stores and things like that, and the orbs. But actually, Evan B just said that same thing. So yeah, you have to do that, but no, just from Dark Dimension, no. But now you can at least. But even then, like I said, you had that nice reset whenever you moved from green gear to blue gear, from blue gear, from blue gear to purple gear, where it's kind of like after you had required so many of each piece of blue gear, whenever you were about to get into the purple gear territory, your purple gear cost was low again at the beginning, right? But you didn't see that with orange gear. It never had that kind of reset. So I'm just required to take, like right now for my first starting levels of orange gear, right, to get up into the tier 13, where only some of the pieces, like half, maybe not even for some people, that require orange gear, I'm needing more pieces than I do to complete one piece for purple gear at that level. So I'm not a big fan of that. So
yeah.
There was other problems with that compounded on top of Dark Dimension that made it feel even worse, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that my initial feelings are pretty dead on still. And I think more people feel the way I do.
It is quite possible, yeah.
Than actually enjoy that. So,
I think most people just nothing it. They're whatever.
And to me, that's kind of how I am about it. So, I did want
It
to.
sounds like you actively hate it.
Well, I've actively hated it since I've talked to people about what it was going to be like from the very beginning. So, look, I go in and do it. I'm still on that horrible, horrible Miss Marvel node.
Yep, that one's the worst node.
That is
Period.
just, ugh.
Yeah.
So I want us to adjust our grades or reevaluate, right, before we move on. Okay. So Flip in chat asked, base your grade off the fact that both your co-hosts quit. Does it change your score at all? So, if you're new to the podcast, welcome. First of all, we're glad to have you here. Just so you guys know, though, a little bit of history. Hebrew and I did not start this together. I actually had another co-host, Muggin, and Hebrew had another co-host, Irish. And both our co-hosts, right around the same time, had basically had enough of the game. And Muggin had some things going on in his personal life also. He had a new baby, and so he just couldn't put in the time commitment to the game anymore. But they both quit around the same time.
I think it was like a 2-week difference or something.
Yeah.
Something
I mean, it was
like
really close together. So Heber and I got together and basically combined our two podcasts. So it's so Hebrew, would you change your grade at all based off of that? You still gonna give it a B minus?
So, like I said, it depends on what metric you rate it on, because there were specific moments, during the game that did make people quit. Like, so there were several exoduses that happened in the game. First was probably Gold Gate, which was a very small one, I think, in comparison to the others. But so there was Gold Gate, then there was Nightly Gate, which a lot of people exited on.
Yeah.
And Fury was kind of along with that same time period, I think.
Fury was shortly after Nightly.
Shortly after Nightly, yeah. So, because that was really what it was for Irish. It compounded with, he wasn't feeling great after Nightly. He got his refund, but he kept playing the game. They didn't ban him or anything. And then whenever Nick Fury came out and he just got trashed, I mean, anyone that's listened to anyone that's listening to the show now, you really should listen to
you gotta listen to the
song.
Yes.
that I sang for him.
That was, oh my God, that is great. I need to download that and put that somewhere.
But yeah, so
Fury.
I was sad. Yeah. I was sad because I was like, this has, been a really good buddy of mine for like ever, basically since like, I think first grade or something like that. I don't remember anymore, but we've been really good friends, still are. I mean, we see each other like all the time, but yeah, I mean, I was with him the day he quit, and I mean, I couldn't really blame him. He got his team that he worked so hard for thrashed by a team that was like 40K below him. I don't remember what the exact difference was now. I think it was 50K actually.
Yeah, I think it was like 40 or 50K.
Yeah, I say it in the song, but yeah. But yeah, so I think that really did kind of change things if you base it on that metric, on how many scandals they did have. The scandals or upsets that they did have. So, on that front, I would say I'd probably give it a C- or a D. They're probably more closer to a D, because especially Nightly was so dumb. Like,
yeah, that was so dumb.
Like, anyone that wants to have a successful company should look even just the slightest, just Google the name of the person that you have out there sponsoring, or that you're sponsoring for the game, like to be your mouthpiece on YouTube. Do one Google search would have eliminated that. So it was so dumb on every single front. So yeah, D, I would say pretty solid D on that.
So speaking of that,
as far as playability, yeah.
Speaking to the Nightly thing real quick. So everybody may or may not know they brought in a new quote unquote influencer. Where's he at? What's he been doing? This guy was supposed to be the new hotness, and he was going to show us, where's his Green Goblin stuff, man? I haven't seen nothing.
Wait, real quick, are you talking about the newest guy, or are you talking about Nightly?
No, I'm talking about the newest guy.
The newest guy. Oh yeah.
Yeah, the new hotness.
Maybe it's because, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but on Reddit, like his post for his content got downvoted into oblivion.
Oh yeah, I know it did.
So
I'm wondering, because there was a big backlash from a lot of people about that, and it's weird that they've not kind of addressed that either.
yeah, I mean, here's the problem. Like I understood, and this might be unpopular with other content creators. I understand the business decision behind hiring that person. He had a lot of popularity behind him, although, as we found out, the popularity for him was dropping dramatically because he was involved in a different, very Smosh. He was involved in Smosh, and whenever he kind of split off from them and started doing his own thing, his popularity started dropping off a lot. I'm sorry if any of that is incorrect, but that's what I've been told, and that's from what I saw from his videos. So I think he was dropping in popularity, but superficially, he looked like a good candidate to put on a game and say, all right, wave our flags for us, please, especially during the time that they had. It was very controversial with Red Stars. So, yeah, I understand how, going after it, they wanted to try to, bring the game into the forefront on YouTube and have some powerhouse YouTuber pushing it for them. None of us, and this goes for any of the content creators currently in there, I think Seaton probably had the most at like 100,000 or so. I'm sorry, I don't really remember his views, but I think it was like 100K or so subscribers. And even then, that paled in comparison to his.
Right.
So I understand it. It's kind of a slap in the face in some ways because he came out of nowhere and we've been giving them good ideas forever and then kind of giving them exclusive content stuff. It stung more than anything, but I did understand it from a business perspective.
Yeah,
but
and we chose, and just so everybody knows, we chose not to address it publicly. And we're really kind of not, they did what they did. We understand why. But whatever.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just kind of have to put yourself out of it a little bit and say, this really sucks, but I understand what they're doing. It was a good business strategy, but it didn't end up working out for them because I think the community kind of just saw through it, because they were obviously doing it just to try to help them come out of the funk of the Red Stars.
Oh yeah.
And the backlash that came from it. I mean, we still think that they were hiring bots to
upvote
it on the App Store.
God help them if Google finds out they did that. Because that is completely
so I think that is a problem, and I think they were just trying to overcome that in any way they could, and they were just scrambling to try to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So, but he hasn't really done anything since, is what it sounds like.
No, he hasn't. So, all right, enough of 2018, right? Can we let's shake the dust off our boots. Let's look forward to 2019. And I don't want to get into too much specifics because we're starting to get kind of late. But let me ask you this: what is your optimism level for 2019? Are you still really low because we're coming out of Red Star? Are you looking to the horizon to Alliance Wars? Are you thinking things are going to get better? I mean,
so I think things are going to get better way down the road. I think what's coming up is going to be bad. It's going to create an even bigger issue on top of a current issue. So immediately, I'm not looking forward to it. I think the second half of 2019 for this game will probably be better than now. I just think that with Alliance Wars coming out, it's going to create even more of a time suck, which is already a big problem. And then we have the separate issues still with no specifics as to how it's going to be solved of Red Stars.
Right.
So Yeah, I'm trying to be very optimistic about it, and I'm trying to think objectively. And I think the trajectory is bad right now, but I see a possibility of it being better if they make the right moves in the future. So that means changing the time limit. This is really the only way that it could get better. Changing the time limit on what we see happening right now in Alliance Wars. It can't be 12 hours.
No, cannot.
And then on top of that, they need to find other ways to get red stars that aren't luck based, to get high red stars that aren't luck based. If they do those two things with a lot of time in between, I think that you'll start to see things even out a bit. I still don't think it'll be as good of a game as it would be without red stars, or at least the way that they implemented red stars. But that is what it is, and that's something that they're going to have to live with, for better or for worse. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think that it has ways to be better, and I'm hopeful that it will be better. And towards the late part of 2019. I think until then it won't be very good. I think it is potentially going to get much worse. But the night is darkest just before the dawn.
Yeah, it's darkest just before the dawn. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. So throw a Batman quote in there.
I have a tendency to agree with you on that. That I think that 2019 is going to start off on a very rocky foot. I mean, so Alliance Wars beta testing is supposed to start next week.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully test accounts are going to go out next week. Hopefully that means that we're going to have new content that we can create to show, when they tell us that we can. So we'll be able to branch out and start doing maybe, character reviews, Twitch, YouTube, whatever, prior to, they're being released. That's my hope. Anyway. But Alliance Wars bothers me because I don't care if it's 12 hours defense and 12 hours offense. I don't care if it's 12 hours to do both. This game already requires too much of a time commitment to add something like that in right now. Okay, they've got to change something. You cannot expect people to blitz, campaign, raid Ultimus, raid Gamma, and do Alliance Wars. There's too much going on at one time, all the time, and there's too much repetitiveness. So, and Evan, forgive me, I did not call this out. I don't think I called this out in what we did this week, but my Alliance just did our first Ultimus 100 today. Yay, everybody. Well done. That's awesome. I feel bad because I've not really been participating because it's just so hard to open the game anymore. It really is.
They completed it with you slacking, huh?
Yeah, I want to say I came in 16th maybe. And I used to hit I was fighting for number 1.
Right.
So it's just so hard. I've told Evan this. It's just so hard to get motivated because it's so repetitive. It's so time consuming.
Speaking of that, our Alliance actually just because of Red Stars, we had a big upset, screw up that almost ruined our Alliance. Pretty much did. We have a almost different Alliance now. Because we had so many people get really powerful and they left.
Yeah.
And then we had too many people that weren't powerful enough, and they didn't make the cut anymore. Primarily free-to-play players that had been kind of on the lower end before,
right?
But they weren't really cutting it anymore, and so we had to let them go too, and it almost destroyed our Alliance. And that was one of the things that I was upset about. But I kind of predicted was going to happen. But it was a shame because we had such a solid group for such a long time. But it is what it is.
I'm happy that. We haven't had much of a shakeup. But Alliance War scares me, to be honest with you. And I think that what bothers me the most is I reached out to Fox Next, and you were part of this conversation, and I was talking to them about just the time requirements. And I think the first response that came back was, well, that's kind of normal, isn't it? Like, that's on the low end, right? I'm like, you're spending 2 to 3 hours a day in this game. And like, well, that's on the low end. And I'm like, I got a job, a wife, and kids. And I got other things I want to do. This can, if you want me on a game that much, you better start paying me.
I'll say a couple things about that. So I think 3 hours a day on a mobile game to be very competitive, I think that is okay-ish. But I think that a real problem that we have in this game, and I know I mentioned it last podcast, there's no way to really not spend a decent amount of time in the game just to be casual. You still have to hit your raids every day. You have to go back in a lot of times to hit it a second time. We have multiple raids. If you want to do blitzes, you got to be in there to do your blitzes. You got to make sure that you set your reminders to do your challenges. You got to do your arenas. And if you combine the time that it takes to play, it doesn't seem like, even if it is just like 2 hours, 3 hours, something like that, A, that is a good amount of time. But B, also just the constant reminding yourself to have to do it takes more time, right? Yep. Going in, setting up takes more time. Having to workshop your day around it takes more time, because you can't just, take out your phone, any time of the day and hit your stuff. You have to have the energy to do it. And then you have to make sure that you're not doing anything else so you can concentrate on doing it correctly, right? There's so many things that really start to add up the time. And honestly, I think that it's way more than, I think I spend way more than 3 hours on this game, especially now that I'm free to play. I think I spend more hours than that on this game.
Yeah, if you want to stay competitive, you have to.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think that it takes more than that. And I think you kind of have to, I just wish that there was a way to be more casual, because you have to be in an alliance if you want to just progress, period. When we spoke about that the other day. So even if you want to be casual, if you just want to be able to basically progress and play the game at all, you have to be in an alliance. You got to hit stuff. So yeah, it's just, I wish that there was better ways to play this game and be more casual. But it seems like for me, it's either, you're competitive or you're not. And if you're not competitive, there's different levels of being competitive, I suppose. But, if you can't just kind of like take a day off ever.
No, really, you cannot.
So yeah,
no.
I don't know. That might just be my opinion, but that's what I've experienced. So yeah, it is what it is, though, and I do enjoy my time in the game a decent bit still. So that is good. I just want there's just particular things that if they just changed, it would be so good. There's just a lot of things that, and it's mostly time related things. So yeah. Continue. Sorry, I didn't mean to take us off track there.
Nope, that's okay. That's okay. So, yeah, I want to be optimistic for 2019, but I got to see more. I agree with you. I think that if this game survives Q2, then it'll probably start getting better. Right around the start of Q4. But I think it's got to get through the first and second quarters before I really worry about that.
Yep. No, that's I think we're on the same page for that one, because it's gonna be tough for a while, that's for sure.
Yep, absolutely. So,
and I think that one of the things that does not bode well is just the fact that we saw how little of an effect we had on the outcome of Red Stars.
And by we mean the community. We mean the player
community
base.
And us.
Well, yeah.
And people who have direct lines to the developers of Marvel Strike Force, and giving them great ideas backed with statistics that made so much sense, and alternatives that made even more sense. If they didn't listen to that, any of that on any front, it just it shows that it really doesn't matter. What they want to do is what they want to do, and they're going to do it. They're not going to listen to us no matter how much we tell them. as a community or as a minority of people who have the direct line. Like, it just doesn't matter. What they want to do is what they want to do, and they're just going to say that we were instrumental, quote unquote, in shaping the Red Star system or whatever system they're implementing.
Instrumental while completely ignoring us. Yep.
Exactly.
Sounds about right.
So,
yeah. Is there anything specific that you would like to see in 2019?
Whew. So I'll just pick one thing specific because there's a lot, but just to keep out on time, I think the thing that would make the biggest difference for me that's realistic, because I know they're not going to get rid of Red Stars. I think it would just be make Red Stars trait based and or make characters Red Stars specifically farmable, as in like you keep farming shards for that character. Maybe that can also be applied to their Red Stars. You know what I mean?
Right.
That would be a way to do it. So like if, even if I'm at 7 stars on Crossbones, I can keep farming Crossbones and it'll basically reset.
Right.
And so once I get another star, I'll have that one Red Star. At least that would add a secondary way to farm it, so I don't have to solely depend on luck.
Yeah.
So something along those lines of a system would be probably the most beneficial for the game overall. Other than that, delete vision. Other than that, go ahead and
you realize that every time you say that, we lose a subscriber. I'm just telling you that people love their vision, and just because you have some weird hate on,
you level it out because you love vision. So
I think Vision is a very strong character. I wouldn't go so far
in the game,
to say I love him.
Game, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that Paul Bettany played what he was told to play excellently in the movies. And I understand what they were trying to do with Vision. I think that maybe you should go back and read some of the early West Coast Avengers, and some of the earlier Avengers before they split off to the West Coast, because Vision struggled with his identity a lot. He struggled with his identity.
I actually like the fact that he struggles with his identity. I don't mind that at all. Like inner conflict, I love that stuff. It's the fact that he was practically useless always. That's what I didn't like in the movies. Because
he was struggling with who he was. But
he has an Infinity Stone in his forehead. Let him do something.
He did. He went toe to toe with Ultron, man.
He had his ass handed to him every 5 seconds on Infinity War. Like, it was so bad. It was laughable. I did not. It's just, we're never going to agree on this one.
We'll have to get if that's the whole reason, you realize it was because he was kind of a different person then, right? Because of his relationship with Wanda, and I don't want to go down an Infinity War review and digest. So let's
I don't think that affects his ability to fight, but yeah, let's continue.
Where were we? My God, we got off.
One thing to change about like in the future of the game.
Well, so not change, but what would you like to see them implement, or what is there one feature?
It wasn't just change things. Okay, Is it potentially adding things as well? Okay, sorry, I wasn't paying attention to that part, I guess. So something that they could potentially add. I suppose just off the top of my head, something that I still really like, and probably people won't like this at all or don't care about this, but I really love games that I can have someone literally play with me in real time, right? That we can work together in real time on. It's like they can be on my team and stuff like that. I've always loved that since I saw it on Naruto. I love it in Brawl Stars, and I love it in Clash Royale. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff. So if I could somehow we could get into basically a lobby or a matchmaking system or something like that, where I can invite a friend with me and we can go against some super powered team together. You pick out three of your best characters, I pick out three of my best characters, and we go at it together. And then you get some kind of, like heightened rewards for doing it with friends and stuff like that. That kind of stuff is what I love. So if they could implement something like that, I think it would be really cool. And I would love to do that with so many different people. But yeah, it's probably minute in the way of game affecting things. So yeah, but that would be probably my thing that I would love to see in this game.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not huge on those types of things, but I can see the appeal for that. I think
a lot of people aren't. I think that it's just kind of a thing that's more specific with me, but would be like, okay, yeah, sure, to other people. But yeah. Anyways, what's yours?
So I think mine is more some quality of life improvements. I'd like to see either an open API, please. I would love to get my hands on an open API, where we can do something to help alliance leaders see rosters and inventories and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Or something in game where you can do like a squad search functionality. That would be very, very, very handy, especially with Alliance Wars coming out. We're going to need something like that to take some of the load off the officers' plates. I would like to see a favoriting system. I would like a way to sort and filter my characters a little bit better than just by whatever traits they've got. I want to be able to make a favorites, right? So that I
want a red star.
A red star filter, a red star sort, probably. Yeah. Well, I mean, just sort by power. But yeah, no, I get your, you can sort by star level, so sort by red star level.
Exactly.
That way you can weep silently when you see that 7-star vision, because
exactly.
It's gonna happen. It will happen.
We're gonna have problems the day that happens.
I will make you a eulogy. I will do a eulogy for you.
Good to know.
I'll try to do it as good. I'll try to do it as good as what you did for Irish. But yeah, I think I'd like to see some quality of life improvements. And I would love to see them stop this dual rating system. It's just trying to run 2 raids in 24 hours and expect everybody to hit them both. It's just the time commitment's horrible, man. I understand why they're doing it, and I think it's great they're giving us an opportunity, but don't make it alliance based. Just
you're right.
It's just I don't care about the current. I mean, yeah, look, I like Spider-Man, Miles, but I don't care to hit that raid enough because those trait notes suck for me. So,
right.
I would rather not have other people's, rewards based off of my lack of desire to participate in that node or that mode. So yeah, I would like to see less time requirements, and some better quality of life improvements. And my God, fix save squads.
Yes.
So I don't know about you. I think we've kind of covered the game well enough, or covered last year. Obviously didn't go as much into what we'd like to see in 2019 for time constraints, because I do want to try to get to questions, and we've got quite a few, and I don't know if we're going to get through all of them, because we're both a bunch of talkers, but we're gonna do our best. So Hero, was there anything more that you wanted to add about either 2018 or 2019 before we move into the questions?
No, not too much. Just kind of a blanket statement of, we know we sound like we're very negative on the game, but I think just to be objective, which is something that we do like to do, like there was a lot of bad this year. And, we still love this game for what it can be. And we're really hoping that it goes back towards that at least. So yeah, we're still hopeful. So anyone that's listening that is like, oh my God, I hate these guys. They're, just like, why don't you quit already if you hate it so much? I still do enjoy.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I still do enjoy playing the game. But yeah, I have things that I want to change, and there are things that have been undeniably bad for the game for various reasons. So yeah, that's just, something that we have to look at while being objective in the game.
Yeah.
So, but that's about it. What about you? What were you going to say?
No, I was gonna say I kind of mirror that sentiment. I'm negative because it upsets me, and it upsets me because I care, right? And it's not that I think that they're a bad company. I just think they've made some bad decisions, and I think this game has such potential, and I fell in love with it when I started playing it. And I regret not having jumped in earlier in the beta when I found out first about it, because it took me months to finally pull the trigger. I love the game, and I want to see it succeed. And I think that there's such a good core fundamentals and mechanic here, that in such a beautiful universe, that, I want to see where this story goes. I want to see how this ends. I want to see it through. I don't want them to kill the game through mismanagement. And that's why I get so upset. It's because I feel like it's being just poor decisions and mismanagement.
Seeing potential of a fantastic game being killed right in front of your eyes as you're actively trying to deter it from being so.
Right.
That is frustrating, to say the least.
Because Heber and I are invested, right? We do this. We don't expect anything. If people choose to be our patrons, we thank you, because that is an act of kindness, and is awesome. I did this, and I know Hebrew did this before we had patrons,
on my show, we didn't even have a Patreon account.
Yeah.
We never created one.
Muggin and I, when we started, we didn't have one for the longest time. We did it out of our own pocket. We had one donation early on, and that's the microphone that I'm currently using. And it's, we do it because we had a passion for the game. And, I know it's the same for you guys, so if you don't like our negativity, I apologize. It's not that we want to be negative. It's just that it's hard to stay positive when you see something that you've fallen in love with be abused.
Yeah. Trust me whenever I'm saying I'm looking for something to compliment. Always.
Yeah. I've been working hard this episode specifically to be like, hey, they did this really, really, really well. This was great. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
We
had a big discussion while he was on the ride home, from an errand that he had to run, and we were talking on the phone about it and trying to figure out what were the high points in this game.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right. Let's do some questions. Oh, I want to let everybody know there is not going to be a character spotlight tonight for Green Goblin. Not because I hate the character, which I do, but it's more about I try to throw some little Deadpool stuff in every once in a while. It's more about the fact that didn't really have time to prep for it. So we're going to do the character spotlight for him next week. And so be on the lookout for that. Maybe we'll be able to do a video. That would be really, really cool. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, let's move into our grab bag. And now, obviously, we did not record last week. I'm sorry, we didn't record the week before, but I think these questions, did we answer these? I can't remember where we ended off. I need to open up the show notes, don't I?
I think we ended off on the one that was desserts. The dessert.
Was it the desserts? I thought it was the desserts, but I wasn't sure. So
it was the ones that we did last time were the desserts and the. I don't remember the one, but I think it was before the desserts one. So I think if you just look after the desserts, that's where we're at.
Okay, I couldn't remember because Chadro mentioned that he just listened to the latest podcast, and it sounds like we have similar tastes in games. But it was after he asked.
That's right. It was
question.
The game question.
So did we talk about the favorite indirect synergies?
No.
Okay, so Elk asks, what are your favorite indirect synergies in the game? Things like Scarlet Witch extending and spreading Mortar Blind, Crossbones and Quake taking advantage of Spidey's defensive down, etc. So indirect synergy. What's your favorite indirect synergy in the game?
Favorite indirect synergy? Probably the spreading of buffs. So like Venom spreading buffs is probably one of my favorite, or the not spreading buffs, but debuffs.
Yeah,
is probably my favorite thing. I think I really love Venom in this game. Like he's slow for sure, but I can't. That's another reason why I can't wait to take him in the Spider-Verse team, because I'm really excited to start using him.
yeah,
And I like the ability to spread multiple debuffs. I can't wait to put him in with kind of a mix and match team with Pyro as well. Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. That's probably my favorite indirect one, just for the sake of brevity. What about you?
I honestly, I was gonna kind of go with the same thing, because one of my favorite Blitz teams is Scarlet Witch, Vision, Ant-Man, Wasp, and Venom. I talk about that team all the time with the rotating fifth, and I put Venom in there, and I love that. There's so many debuffs going on, and then you got Vision and Wasp for the damage, and it's just, that team is so fun. And then Ant-Man can do he debuffs everything but taunt, so it's really nice. But yeah, I think that the Scarlet Witch Venom debuff spreading on a debuff heavy team is a lot of fun. So let's see. Mike C asks, this is a podcast question. Do you guys think about ever adding a theory crafting segment for making interesting and unique teams? Yeah, we've actually talked about it, and we would love to do it. The problem we keep finding is they drop so much on us every week, it feels like, that we just don't have time to devote to that type of segment. Now, part of that could be the fact that we do this a little bit later in the evening. Heber and I are both very chatty, and so we go, and that's our biggest problem, is staying disciplined and being chatty. But yes, I wanted to do something like this early on before Heber and I started working together, and tried to get into it a little bit when I was doing the character spotlights, by providing like new strategy, synergies or whatever, that a person could work with. But I would love to do something like this. I feel that I've got to become more disciplined though. Heber, what about you?
I think yes, we have talked about it multiple times, more specifically you. But I wouldn't have a problem doing it as well, but for the same reasons, like, this isn't, and by no means am I complaining at all, because like I said, like, I started a podcast, without really anything, just for the fun of it. But it does take a decent amount of time as it is. You might not see it, but, and it might seem like it's only, you guys only podcast for like 2 hours, one day. But there's a lot of
prep work,
game playing that stays thin. There's prep, there's editing. Trust me, it takes longer than you think. And just dedicating the time to be around the other stuff that I have to do per day. Like right now, it's a little easier because I'm not in school until the 16th. But it gets more difficult. And especially since I have to do internships soon, I'm going to have more of a problem. But so it's more time that I have to dedicate. But that being said, I also think the more difficult thing is also, it's getting very, as we kind of discussed earlier, like it's getting very standard team centric. If this was back in the day, whenever like Avengers was like the most powerful team, and even then it was like you didn't even really use the full Avengers team. It was much more mix and matchy, and that was a little more interesting. But now it's like you're going to be kind of running around on the standard teams as like the best teams, and then you can make teams that are like not quite as good but more interesting. But I just don't. Yeah, it's not like this. Oh, I just found this secret team that's really good. You probably aren't going to find a secret team that's very good that's going to beat Fury. You know what I mean? Or that's going to be better than Fury. You're not going to find a secret team that's going to be better than the Defenders, most likely.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was done pretty much. So
Okay. I was just saying, my hope is that look, I've been told I'm getting a test account. I hope that comes through. My hope is that test account, because we'll have every character unlocked, maxed out, that I'll be able to do that. Right there, that we'll be able to talk about, trying out different things or doing different things, and having basically the resources to do so. In a manner that can provide some insight and direction for people. So I'm hoping that will be a benefit for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Easy Touch 77 said, or asks, which team would you like to see reworked next? Personally, I think Hydra is overdue just because they are so bad, and I would love to see Hydra Captain America released with their rework. So who do you think needs to be reworked?
I would say, both AIM and Hydra are terrible. So I would say either one of them are, prime candidates for a rework. We know Kree's going to be getting it next, most likely, at least. That seems almost definite at this point. But I think that the idea behind what he said of getting a Hydra Captain America would be super cool. I'm not sure if it would be a different person or a skin or whatnot, but I think that would be really cool to bring out whatever they decide to do for that, or if they decide to do that with that. So that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I would say either one of them. I really couldn't pick because they're both terrible. So I think I would like to see if, let me put it to you like this. So if MODOK came with AIM, I'd rather see the AIM one first versus a Hydra Captain America with the Hydra team. But I don't think we'll see like either of those, unfortunately. But it's a really cool idea. So, barring those two, I would say either one is fine. They're both prime candidates. So yeah.
Yeah, given my current AIM strategy, I'd like to see AIM reworked. I'd like to be ahead of the curve on that one.
Strategy.
Yeah, quote unquote strategy. I'd like to see AIM get a rework first. But I think both AIM and Hydra are so bad that they just need something.
Yeah.
Team wise, I'll be honest, they have the core there. They could do a West Coast Avengers as well as a standard Avengers. That I think would be really cool. That would give you could put Wasp in as either a standard Avenger or move her to the West Coast, because you've got Vision, Ant-Man, Scarlet Witch, Hawkeye, and Wasp, and they all broke off, and I'm pretty sure Wasp was part of the West Coast. I have to look that back up, but I'm pretty sure. I'd actually like to see them take what they have now and maybe make new teams or some better interpersonal synergies. I was about to say,
that's actually a pretty good idea. That's something that I haven't really spent any time thinking about. But, there are a lot of times whenever teams overlap and, certain team members are in other teams. And once that starts to happen, if that ever starts to happen, where they bring in, teams that overlap with specific characters, that would be pretty interesting. That would make it much more mixed matchy on a team level. So I would like that a lot, actually. And that's something that I really haven't thought about. So that would be pretty cool. And there's a lot of room to do that in the Marvel Universe. You're right.
Oh, yeah. So, there's a ton. In fact, cool. I think we've got the core of the new Avengers here as well, with Spider-Man, Miss Marvel, and I want to say Power Man and Iron Fist.
Interesting.
I think they were new Avengers, but I'll have to double check.
Yeah, so if they put in things on those characters that overlap, that's saying like, if you're with this person, you get this benefit. If you're with this person, you get this benefit. That would be super cool.
That would be really cool. That would be really cool. Okay, so our good buddy San Fran Psycho, my Pokemon mentor, he said, "New year, new MSF, hypothetically, of course. Fox Next hands over all creative control of this game to you guys. What are 3 things you implement, change, or tweak immediately?" So name your. So I'm just gonna say Red Orb. No matter what you do to Red Orbs, that's only one thing.
It's only one. Is that what you said?
If you change Red Orbs in any way, everything you do to the Red Orb system is only one change.
Yeah. All right. So am I going first in this?
Yes.
So I'd kind of do what I had mentioned earlier, which is so first I would actually, oh man, I wish I had more than 3, but no, I'm sticking to 3. All right. So yeah, I would basically just revert red orb or the red stars. I would not have them in the game. I'd bring it back to where it was before. And then I would, gosh, it's a toss up on deleting Venom or bringing in Gambit. That would be my second. Because the third would definitely be change the blitz timers to 6 hours for sure. So my second one would be a toss up of deleting Vision or bringing in Gambit.
Well, no, you said Venom first, so I'm going to hold you to Venom.
Venom?
You did.
Venom?
Listen back to the episode. You said Venom.
Oh, sorry. All right, sorry. I meant Vision. So it'd be either deleting Vision or bringing in Gambit. So yeah, be one of those two as my second.
Nice. I like those. So obviously I would fix red stars. I would, like you said, I think rolling them back is a mistake just because of the amount of money involved at this point. And how
these are hypotheticals anyways.
Well, this is true, but I'm trying to be realistic as well. And they have been ingrained into the game structure now. So I would probably change the acquisition method and the power curve for them. So that would be one change. So I would change red star orbs, or red stars.
Mm-hmm.
I would change the raids. Absolutely change the raids. I would make it so that you don't launch them every day for 24 hours. You don't get enough tickets to launch them every 24 hours. You got to launch them every couple of days. I'd probably tweak the rewards out a little bit better, but I would make it so you don't have to run the raids every day.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then also Blitz. I would either just make it go away or modify the timer. Or give you even give you more blitzes. But run them concurrently. Like what they do with the red star and the premium orb. I love how they do that because it makes you choose.
But still the timer would being brought to 6 hours would still benefit those either way.
It would. Well, I don't know about that one specifically. I think that one benefits better from the 2 to 4 hour timer. It's simply because it's only a 1 day. But the 3 days, absolutely. I think a 4 hour blitz timer would be fine.
Because I would find myself, even if I was running multiples, I would find myself still hitting every 2 hours, as opposed to literally no one being able to hit for every 6 hours.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to think about that, but I would probably run more blitzes concurrently with more character options to give you more choices. But
I would
with shared timers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was assumed. But yeah, I would ideally love to see, as you said, more blitzes that run congruently so that we have to pick, along with a 6 hour time period in between. Like you had to wait 6 hours to hit again.
Yeah.
That would be super cool. And would really limit the competition. So that way you had a better chance of getting a higher score regardless. So yeah, that'd be cool.
So, and then he has a follow-up here. He goes, also, how do you guys feel about Second Dinner, the former Blizzard devs, announcing they're working on a new, and it's actually a new Marvel mobile game. He attached a link. You hadn't heard about this?
No,
Muggin told me about that this morning. So they are former Blizzard devs, and they worked for Hearthstone. They worked on Hearthstone. Hearthstone,
yeah.
And like it was the game designer and some of the devs for Hearthstone. So they have formed a new dev studio, and they're going to be making a Marvel type of game. We don't know what yet, but it'll be a Marvel license.
Okay, so do you want to go on this one first or me?
I'm kind of excited, but I'm also a little trepid because of knowing where they came from with Hearthstone. I'm worried it'll just be another Marvel, or it'll be a Marvel CCG. And I don't know if I need that. I think CCGs on mobile are very hard to do. I know they're kind of popular, but I've gotten into a few, but they're so
kind of.
yeah. But I tried Yu-Gi-Oh and I tried not EverQuest, Elder Scrolls, and Magic Arena, and they're so gimme money, gimme money, gimme money. I couldn't do it for long. And I feel that's how CCGs are. If they're all paywall based, and look, CCGs are like that in real life. I mean, you're buying, if you're not buying packs, you're not getting anywhere. But I don't know. I don't know. It felt worse. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel on that one.
Yeah, for me, I'm super excited because I tried out Marvel Battle Lines a while ago, which I know you did as well.
Yeah.
Wasn't, play it for a little bit, wasn't a big fan. Just couldn't get into it. I really tried. But if they have a game that is not quite like that, like also like I don't really want a CCG, but if it's done really well, then I would definitely try it. Like I'm gonna try it regardless, actually.
Yeah, I'll try it. I'm not gonna gonna lie. I'm gonna try it.
But if it's anything similar to like this or any kind of MMO kind of thing, like I'm definitely going to play it a lot. I can promise you that. And either way, now that I know about this, I'm going to be looking for the beta to come out. I'm sure it's not going to be out for probably another year or so, but I'm definitely going to be looking out for it because I want early access to play this game for sure. Because I'm really hard on it because I do trust the developers of Blizzard for the most part, and the fact that he was, and it's made up of former Blizzard employees, gives me confidence because Hearthstone's great, World of Warcraft's great.
Don't you have a mobile device?
Sorry, that is an inside joke with Diablo. So, anyways, but with Diablo, although I am still going to play the new game that they're coming out with whenever it starts, and I will be doing content on that because I love Diablo, even though I think that this game is not what we all wanted.
Do you have the Eternal Collection for Switch?
No, I don't. But I have the package, like the biggest package for Diablo 3 whenever it came out for PC.
Oh, nice.
From a GameStop. Yeah, I went and got that. So. But I was not happy with Diablo 3. I was the biggest Diablo 2 LOD fan there ever was. But anyway, so yeah, I'm excited about it. I hope that they do something cool with it. I hope that they do something unique with it more than anything else. So yeah, I would really love to see it. And now that I know about it, I am very excited. So yeah,
very nice. So we've got a few left. I want to try to get through these, but we're running quite long. Obviously, it'll be cut down a bit but it's like 1:30 in the morning here. So, yeah, let's try to get through the rest of these here. So, Pope Jesus Christ asked, has playing Looney Tunes changed your relationship with or perspective on this game? No, I've gone so super casual in Looney Tunes. I like the game. I just can't carry so many mobile games at one time. It's just too much. It's just too much for me. But I like some of the things that they do in Looney Tunes. But I don't know if it's changed my perspective on this game because it's just another in the genre at this point. Hebrew, how about you? What are your opinions on Looney Tunes and your opinions, how it's affected your opinions on Marvel?
So it's nice to see a game back in its infancy doing things right before it has the ability to get greedy. Does that make sense?
So number one, just let me point out that's a Scopely game, okay, and they have a tendency to make Fox look like angels, and that game's been in beta for 2 years.
Right. Well, but either way, they still need a big player base. They're pandering to players right now because they don't have the base to survive otherwise. Even if it was in beta for 2 years, that's only a very small amount of players compared to what they need to sustain. So I will say it's nice to be back in that kind of mode where everything is a lot more loose, and nothing's really, no tragedies have struck yet. But yeah, I know it is a mobile game with a obvious cash grab feature that will probably get exaggerated in the future, just like all of them do. Hopefully not as bad as Marvel Strike Force has. It apparently has a reputation, as Story mentioned, for being particularly bad and money hungry. So, we'll see. But either way, so far, it's fun. I haven't been playing like hardcore or anything like that. In fact, the past like 5 days, I've really slacked because I've been kind of busy. But I'm very bad with juggling multiple games, with juggling multiple mobile games specifically. I usually fall into a pattern of playing one for a long period of time and then going to the next one, going to the next one, going to the next one, especially games that have a competitive aspect to it. So, like, I still play Geek to this day, but that's because it's like a single player game that I can save and go back to whenever I want, kind of thing. But games that I have to set aside time for, yeah, I can kind of only focus on one at a time. The only exception to that is probably Naruto, and I'm still not playing it as competitively as I was before, but I love Naruto so much that it has managed to stay in my life forever. So, in the form of that game.
I'm almost in season 5, by the way.
Oh God, is Kakashi still your favorite?
Oh, absolutely. Quick? I like Jira, but I just don't like his character. I like what he can do, but I just don't like some aspects of his character. Just turn me off.
Right.
But no,
so you are still in Naruto though, not Naruto Shippuden.
No, I'm not in Naruto Shippuden.
Okay, gotcha.
So that could change.
Kakashi's so good. And like I love him in that, and he's still amazing in the next one too. Like, it's just you get to meet so many more people in the next one. Yeah, but yeah, he's awesome.
So anyway, we're breaking off here.
Yes, you're right. Damn us for being so chatty. Jeez.
Right? I'm keeping an eye on the time at this point.
Yeah, continue.
So what? No, were you done? I mean, you were talking about.
Oh, yep, I'm done.
Okay. So Ed Carden asks, do you guys have any common mistakes you make while battling the AI? For example, I frequently overlook the fact that a character have heal block, end up wasting a heal. What kind of screw ups do you guys make, or do you complete your battles flawlessly? Actually the heal block one's the big one for me, especially considering I run the defenders. If I don't think about it, then or with Miss Marvel, I don't think about it, and I just hit the heal in the raids, and they've been heal blocked. I'm just like, oh, Mordo, I hate you. That's probably one of the biggest ones. My other one is using, like, again for the defenders, using JJ's using an alt when a character is blinded is the big one. I do that all the time. There's nothing more gut wrenching than hitting Rocket's ult, going, okay, game over, and then go, oh wait, he's blind.
Yeah.
So those are kind of mine.
Yeah, mine would probably be, I'm pretty good about watching out for heal block. Blinds have definitely bit me pretty hard before. Although a lot of times I get pleasantly surprised with Daredevil, of course. Yes. Because whenever I'm blinded, I use it. I'm like, oh yeah, oh wait, cool. Like I'm like, oh no, I'm blinded, and then I see the damage. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, go Daredevil. But I think another one is, I stupidly use chain attacks on characters with counters all the time. And I'm just not thinking about it. And I'm like, oh yeah, all right, he's going to chain to him, and he's going to kill him because he has no health left. And then the primary target has counter on him, and then he doesn't chain. So that's something. And then another thing is probably more specific to Thanos, but a lot of times with Quake, especially whenever I try to use a dispel, I'm just not thinking, and was like, oh yeah, it's Thanos with a bazillion resistance, and so I try to get off his taunt, and it obviously does not work because you need Hand Archer or JJ to do it, or at least consistently. But anyways, yeah. So those two are probably my worst.
So Dark Andrew asked, looking back at it, how laughable is the quote limited Red Star offers when Fox next introduced the Red Star blog? I have seen nonstop offers, multiple quantities each time, and today's $50 for 14 red orbs puts the icing on the cake. Yeah, we covered this during the episode. I think our feelings on this have been pretty well made. Did you want to add anything to it, Hebrew?
These people actually won't be hearing it because that's all going to be cut out. I think we started talking about it during that time. I'm not sure, but
did we? I thought, did we? Was that during our rambling discourse on something else? I thought that was after that.
I think so. Well, I mean, we can go ahead and say for anyone that is interested. Well, let me just say, for anyone that is interested, by the way, we did have a conversation earlier about gambling and more specifically in these games and gambling in general, I suppose. But if you want to hear that, you're going to have to be a patron because we are not releasing it to the public for several reasons, more specifically time and people who care. But yeah, I think that we spoke about it in that time. But if not, I'll figure out during editing. So either way. But for me, just to kind of, reiterate it, yeah, their definition of, limiting Red Star orbs is hilarious because you can buy them every single day, multiple times.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah, I don't, but that's to be expected because this entire thing, after all, was basically to make a ridiculous amount of money. So, which they're succeeding on. So yeah, it's no, I think that it's dumb, and I think it's not fair. But as we've seen, what can we do?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's horrible. Sky asked, just took in 2 new members that are consistently coring to get ahead in the Ultimate 6 raid. We've been doing 100% for over a month. It's starting to cause frictions. Have you ever experienced this before? Since my guild just started doing 100%, no. However, that's how these raids are set up. They're meant to be competitive. Now, if it's starting to cause friction, I would, point out, hey, look, try to alternate or say, look, you're not getting a whole lot extra from 1st to 5th, right? To justify spending X amount of cores. It should, in my opinion, should be a discussion to have. I mean, I wouldn't browbeat anybody for it. I mean, if they want to spend cores to get better in the raids, I mean, good for them. They want to play and compete. I don't know if I'd be upset by that. How about you, Hebrew?
So I guess it'd be why they're coring would be my biggest thing. So if they're coring to try to complete 100% and then they're getting mad at people, other team members on other teams that aren't getting to the 100% as well to complete the raid, then I could see how that would be causing friction. If they're just coring in order to, increase their scores, so that way they get the slightly higher payout of rewards, then I think that that's fine. If they want to do it, whatever. And if anyone gets mad at them, I would say, sorry, unless you are strictly like a free-to-play alliance or something that doesn't like that kind of stuff, then I would say, respectfully tell them like, hey guys, sorry, we're trying to keep it free-to-play friendly, and that's kind of, hurting us and our morals for the game. So you just need to find another alliance. But if people are coring out to hit 100%, I would tell them, hey, look, we're not at that level yet where everyone can meet 100% in the alliance. So either stop coring until we can naturally get there, or you need to core and be okay with it if we don't hit 100%, or you need to find another alliance that's more competitive because we're not at the same level. As
well, they've been doing 100% for over a month.
Oh, they have?
Yes.
Okay, so if it's just, so then, erase the other 2 options that I mentioned If it's just coring to get, up to a higher level, or I mean to get a higher payout, then yeah, I think it's up to them if they want to. But if your captains agree that they don't want to be that kind of alliance that just pays to get up to the top, or doesn't want people that do that, then yeah, I would just tell them like, hey, you guys need to find another alliance, respectfully, of course. But yeah, I personally wouldn't see too much of an issue with it.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with them coring to get better rewards. I hate to break in here real quick, but I just reopened the game. They took away all the Red Star Orb stuff from the daily logins.
What? Oh boy!
Go check your login calendar. Tell me I'm wrong. Now. Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, I'm not surprised by this, but if they did it. But
I mean, they still have the end at the end of the 7 days, but I was pretty sure they had restarted the 14-day, or we were still in the
I only have the January and the 7-day.
I thought I did get it yesterday because I opened up some orbs. I thought, okay, and people are saying that it's okay. People are saying that it was there, we just didn't get it. So,
well, I hope so, but I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to be too surprised if they do take it away eventually.
Right. Oh yeah, I expect it to come. I expect it to come off the end of the 7-day. So,
yeah, like I kind of I don't know. I kind of expect them to do that. That's something that they would do, kind of temporarily appease us with. Oh yeah, so you're going to get tons. Don't worry. And then basically just slowly take it away from us. That way it's less noticeable.
That's how they get you hooked, and then they set the bait.
Yeah,
and that's how they get you hooked. So, all right. Well, let's finish off here. We've got one last question from our good buddy Flip. So Flip Van asks.
Oh, real quick before we go to Flip, I do want to point out Evan B is right. I got this message too. It said something about a subscription if you went back into the daily rewards and tried to claim it. I got that yesterday as well. And I wasn't sure what that meant, but I thought it was just a visual glitch or something. But we'll see what happens with that. But that might have something to do with it.
Oh, so Red Star Orbs are going to be a subscription based.
Maybe. It might also have something to do with just the fact of, remember, they said you don't have to be online to catch it or something. See. Remember that?
We'll see.
It could have something to do with that.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So Flip asks, do you think they need to increase the 5-minute timer across all game modes? I'm having a real issue lately with the strength Red Stars have brought to some of the tanks. Beating them down sometimes takes forever, and I time out consistently even at 3x speeds. Well, Flip, just go farm you the Red Star attackers to take them down, man. You'd think it'd be that easy. I mean, that's you just need some Red Star attackers. No, they don't need to change the timer. You just need those Red Star attackers.
So you're going to need someone with defense down. Otherwise, you're going to have to go through those brick walls, or you're going to need dispels. Those are the only ways around them.
Yeah, pretty much.
I hate dealing with them as well because they're such a pain. But yeah, unfortunately, it's just that's the beast.
Yeah, so, to honestly to answer your question without being facetious, yeah, I think that in the long run, no, because obviously as time goes by, you are going to get Red Star level characters to combat them. So I don't think it would hurt if they upped it to 6 or 7 minutes, maybe, especially in raids when you have like 20 people dropping in. But I don't know if it has to happen across all game modes, especially arena. I don't think I would do it in arena at all.
I don't see there being any harm in arena. Oh, actually, no. I suppose you could wait out the clock in something or something like that. So.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Hebrew, I mean...
Oh, I already gave my piece on that,
Okay.
Try to bring someone with dispels or defense downs because that's the only way to really do it. Other than that, you're going to have to truck through.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Well, Hebrew, I think that does it for this week. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Hebrew?
Just since it's, this was our yearly review and everything, just wanted to once again thank the patrons. We really appreciate your guys' help and support. And we're really excited we were just brainstorming earlier today on more things to do. And so we're pretty excited about the stuff that we came up with. We know we've been saying that we're going to put it in, so we are going to be putting it in soon. So yeah, we're pumped about that kind of stuff. Obviously, that shows we're still sticking around. For anyone that's worried because we get so negative about the game, we are still sticking around. We've paid up for a year, so don't worry about that. And so we're kind of excited to jump into the new year, and hopefully Fox Next kind of follows suit and things get better.
Yep. So.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to the Ravager Report. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can reach us at email at theravagerreport@gmail.com. Or better yet, you probably should join our Discord community, where we've got a growing list of people just that communicate daily, and it's pretty active. So you can find us at discord.me/Ravager Report. That is a URL, that is not a Discord invite. If you do like what you hear, you like to support us, you can join us at Patreon at patreon.com/Ravager Report, where we have subscriptions ranging from $2 all the way up to $20. And we might have some new things coming as well there. What am I missing? Oh, you can follow us on Twitter at Ravager Repo. I think that's pretty much covered it. Again, thanks for listening, and we hope you kind of liked our year in review. And until next week, keep fighting, true believers.